Welcome back to Mind Pump TV, guys. I'm your host, Danny Matrenga, and today we are going to take a look at the reverse lunge, lunges in general, who they're for, why you should be doing them, and how to program them. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, in my years as a trainer, I've long said that the lunge is probably the single most underrated exercise. Now, while squats and deadlifts get a majority of the clout for being the best developers of functional lower body strength and even hypertrophy, and rightfully so, those exercise varieties are usually bilateral in nature, meaning both legs work at the same time. The lunge is fantastic because it's more unilateral in nature. It provides an element of instability. It provides the opportunity to potentially address an imbalance, as well as just as much of an opportunity, oftentimes, to load the lower body tissues. And for many people, it has a lower learning curve. So if you are looking to develop your lower body and you're already doing squats and deadlifts, lunges make a great addition. And if you're somebody who is struggling with squatting and deadlifting, lunges can be an excellent opportunity to improve that musculature while you work on your squat, deadlift, mobility, and mechanics. So that being said, let's dive first into the reverse lunge, which in my opinion, in my years of coaching, is probably the easiest lunge to start with. We'll talk a little bit about why that is, how you can program these, and how you can progress them. So let's dive in. The reverse lunge is a little bit better for most people than the forward facing lunge. Talk about why that is. Now, when we start in the reverse lunge, starting in a traditional position with your feet shoulder width apart, right, comfortably. From here, you're going to step backward, allowing both knees to bend to at least 90 degrees. You can go so far as to let the patella of the posterior back leg hit the ground. The patella is, of course, the kneecap. But then again, I find people run into a lot of problems there. So if you want to use that as a gauge, you can. But I personally like to have my clients stop just above the floor. From here, I like to cue driving through the ball of the back foot and the heel of the lead leg, coming up to the starting position. It's very simple. You repeat. You can alternate legs if you like, although I am a fan of doing all the repetitions on one side to allow the fatigue to kind of accumulate. Common errors with this would be stepping back too far, okay? Collapsing immediately and stepping back shallow. This is really common, trainers. You'll probably see this a lot. And if you're not necessarily the most stable trainee, you might find that you kind of get apprehensive and shorten your stride. So for a cue, I like to keep my chest up almost as if it's tied to the ceiling by a string. Step back, come down like this. Now the reason I like this a little bit more than the front lunge or that traditional forward lunge, still a great exercise, but new trainees will often drop that foot hard onto the ground and create quite a bit of shearing force on the knee. Not that it's bad to let the knee travel over the toe, but if you don't have control and stability of that movement, you'll find a lot of people put a little bit of unnecessary stress on the knee, and that's oftentimes why lunges get tossed into that basket of exercises that bother people's knees. So the reverse lunge is a fantastic exercise for your leg development, your glute development. It's great for working your way up that lunge continuum to more advanced variations. Just about anyone can do them. Once you've got them down, you can progress to forward lunges, walking lunges, split squats. If you need to regress, you can actually use something to hold on to, like a TRX or even a railing to work on them. As far as setup and execution goes, I'm a big fan of, like I said, keeping that patella right off the ground, driving through the heel and the ball of the back foot. And then just to close things out, I would say shoot for around 8 to 10 repetitions per leg to start, making sure you're doing 2 to 3 sets. If you're squatting and deadlifting, do these after. That way you have the adequate energy and time to supply to those potentially larger, more likely to be loaded movements. If you guys like this video, which I hope you did, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Have an awesome day.